The Narcissist and Awareness. One thing that many victims of narcissist struggles with is the concept of the awareness of the narcissist. There are those who have been able to grasp that most narcissists are unaware of the real reason for what they are doing. But many people still struggle with this. They fail to recognize that lesser and mid-range narcissists are unaware narcissists who do not know why they do what they do. They repeatedly fall into the trap of believing that the narcissist knows full well what they are up to. Essentially, the main reason that people fall into this trap is a combination of two things. Not understanding narcissism because they understandably but incorrectly apply their own worldview onto that of the narcissist, and the presence of emotional thinking. With regard to their own worldview, you as a non-narcissist know when you're being manipulative, and therefore you not unreasonably assume that somebody else will know when they're being manipulative. You know when you're telling a lie, and therefore you believe that other people will know when they're telling lies. But when it comes to an unaware narcissist, that is not the case. Unfortunately, because you have spent X number of years on the planet, essentially operating in a way where you believe roughly everybody else functions in a similar way to you, that you then automatically, when you deal with a narcissist, impose your own worldview. You think that the narcissist knows full well what they're doing and why they're doing it. And this causes you to believe that the narcissist has an awareness where there is none, and you struggle often to get your mind around that. It's complicated by matters such as seeing a smirk or certain admissions that a narcissist might make, and I'll return to those issues a little later, and you can listen to the separate video, the smirk, which will tell you more about why that happens and what's actually going on. The other aspect, of course, is emotional thinking. Powered by the addiction, its role is to keep you locked into the interaction by causing you to enter one or more of the 5 arenas of interaction and to stay there. And therefore, by believing that the narcissist knows full well what they're doing, you're more likely to try and convince the narcissist to snap out of it, to change their ways. Surely you know why you've done this. Come on, you can change this. Why are you lying? I know that you're lying. You know that you're lying. Just admit to me that you've done wrong. And therefore, in such circumstances, the blinding effect of your own emotional thinking keeps you locked into the interaction and thus feeding the addiction that you have. A combination of not understanding narcissism, the imposition of your worldview, and the presence of emotional thinking leads you to believe that most narcissists are aware, or the narcissist that you were involved with knew full well what he or she was doing. It is a common misunderstanding, and it's an important one to get right. To help you understand with regard to the awareness, I essentially break it down into 3 levels, and I'm going to discuss it in terms of blindness. So let's start with the lesser narcissists. Lower lesser, middle lesser, upper lesser type A, the affable arsehole, upper lesser type B, the bullying, boasting, belligerent bastard. Lesser narcissists are doubly blind. First of all, they do not know why they are doing what they are doing. They do not know they are narcissists. They do not know that they seek control. They do not know that they seek fuel. They do not know that they seek character traits. They do not know that they seek residual benefits. They are completely blind to the genuine and real reason that powers all of their behaviours when it comes to interacting with other individuals. They are also blind, however, as to the behaviour. In some instances, a lesser narcissist will do something towards you, you'll react, and you'll be met with a blank look. What? They don't even see that they've done anything wrong, because they are so blind to their behaviour. They don't know the reason they're doing it for the prime aims, and they don't even see that they've done something. In some instances, they may be aware of what they have done, but they offer no justification for it or no detailed justification for it. So, for instance, it may be the case that the narcissist says something which is completely tone deaf, insulting and rude, and you get upset. And the narcissist looks as if to say, what's your problem? And your response is one of incredulity, where you look at the narcissist and go, seriously, you don't understand what's wrong. And you're met with a shrug. You then explain it. You just said this. And you may well be met by denial, or so. And the narcissist walks off. You're offered no justification. Or you're told, deal with it. That's just the way I am. Don't like it, you know what you can do. So with the lesser narcissist, they don't know that they seek the prime aims, and they invariably don't see that what they've done is wrong in any way. And if it's pointed out to them, you're just met with a dismissive shrug and a deal with it. They don't see any problem with what they've done. They are doubly blind. Mid-rangers. This is where it becomes often more problematic. Mid-range narcissists, again, don't know that they pursue the prime aims. They don't know that they're narcissists. They don't know that they need to control people. They don't need that they need fuel. They don't know that they seek character traits, and they don't know that they require residual benefits. They do know what they have done in terms of, for instance, giving you a silent treatment, but they don't know that it is because of the prime aims. The narcissism causes them to believe that the reason for it is something else. So the narcissist would not say to you, when they're mid-range, I'm not talking to you because I need to assert control over you. I need to provoke you through this silent treatment to draw fuel from you. That's why I'm doing it. Or, I'm paying you compliments because I need to control you. I also need you to provide me with fuel by way of a response to my compliments. This is part of me owning you, and therefore I'll acquire character traits from you in terms of your responses, and also you're more likely to give me some money if I flatter you. The narcissist does not know that's what they're seeking. Instead, a mid-range narcissist would say, I know it upsets you when I don't talk to you, so they know that they're giving you a silent treatment, but if you didn't nag me, then I wouldn't have to do this. There is a justification, a reason, an excuse, i.e., it is your fault or somebody else's fault. So they understand that they're not talking to you. They know that's what's happening. But the reason, the motivation for it is something else selected by the narcissism and doesn't allow them to access knowledge that it is the prime aims. They know that they're complimenting you, and they know that that's being done because they think that you're wonderful, and they also want you to like them, but they don't know that it's being done for the prime aims. It's often quite difficult with mid-rangers to realise that, because sometimes some of the things that they say give the appearance of awareness, but on closer examination do not. So, for instance, a mid-range narcissist, as part of a pity play and a preventative hoover, might say to you, I know I do some terrible things to you, but I know I've got to change. I don't know what it is that makes me do it. I guess I just have these demons. And you, not fully understanding narcissism and clouded by emotional thinking, are led to believe, oh, he knows that he's doing something wrong, and he knows that it's his demons, so to speak. Well, actually what's happening there is, yes, that mid-range narcissist is admitting that he's done bad things, but he doesn't actually accept any genuine accountability for it because he's a narcissist, and he will do those bad things again, as and when it is necessary to do it to achieve the prime aims of which he's unaware of. Think back to the number of times that a narcissist has said sorry to you, only to repeat the behaviour, or behaved unpleasantly to you in a different way, again and again and again. In that example, that mid-range narcissist seems to suggest that he knows there's something wrong with him, and that it is his demons. All he's doing there is engaging in subtle blame shifting. He is blaming the behaviour on the demons. You think that the demons are part of him, But the narcissism makes a subtle yet important distinction, placing the demons somewhere else, attributing the blame to them, meaning that the narcissist is unaccountable. It is very subtle, but that is what is actually happening. There is no genuine admission of wrongdoing. There is no genuine admission of the need to change. There's no genuine recognition of there being something wrong and what it actually is. But of course, a lack of understanding about our kind, allied with the blinding effect of emotional thinking, results in you being misled into believing that that particular narcissist has some kind of breakthrough and can see that he's doing wrong and needs to change. So mid-range narcissists are singly blind. They don't know the reason why they're doing all of these things, i.e. it's the prime aims, but they have an awareness that they're doing something that would be regarded as good or bad, and they are given a different reason separate from the prime aims as to why they are doing it. With greater narcissists and the ultra, we have no blindness. We know full well that we are pursuing what we're doing for the purposes of the prime aims. What we don't do is tell you that. Because if we did, we'd be doing something moronic. We'd be giving the game away. Now, I can tell you all of you listening this because you don't know who I am. But I would never, in my private life, say to one of my girlfriends or a friend, yes, I'm actually a highly manipulative individual that engages in this behaviour because I find it hugely entertaining to puppet people. I see them as weak, useless, but I enjoy drawing fuel from them because it validates my existence, and my Machiavellian behaviour gets a good run out by puppeteering people, much to my amusement. I would never, ever admit that. Why? I'd be transferring power. I'd be transferring control. And that is contrary to the reasons why I exist. What about then the instances where it appears that a narcissist has some awareness? For instance, they may say, oh yes, I manipulate people. Well, in that instance, go and listen to the video, The Narcissist Would Be King. That individual isn't actually making a genuine admission as to what they are. They are making an admission as to what they believe they are, but they are not. In some instances, where an admission is made by a narcissist, all that's happening there is that the narcissism deems that it is appropriate to make that admission to you for the purposes of provoking you. So, for instance, a narcissist might say, yes, I take delight in seeing the suffering of other people. His narcissism is allowing him to say that, to triangulate you with the suffering of other people to make you react, to get control over you and to draw fuel from you. It isn't a genuine admission as to what he is. It doesn't mean that he's an aware narcissist. An aware narcissist would never give that information to you, knowingly and willingly. Only an unaware narcissist would do so for the purposes of assertion of control, prime aims, etc. Although, again, they don't know it. They are led to believe by the narcissism in that moment that it is appropriate to make that comment. Thus, with narcissists, lesser narcissists have double blindness, mid-rangers single blindness, and the greater than the ultra have no blindness whatsoever. We know full well why we are doing things, but we won't tell you, because we recognise that that would be transferring power, and we are not going to do that. If you still struggle with the concept of understanding whether the narcissist knows precisely what they're doing or not and why they're aware, do consult with me, and I'll explain it in greater detail for you, and also I'll be able to gauge your understanding in the course of that conversation. Be aware that a narcissist can plan in terms of wanting to, for instance, elevate their social status, but again, they don't know what's really driving that behaviour. A narcissist can think about, I want to get money out of that person. And that's a residual benefit, but they don't realise that it's their narcissism driving that behaviour. So it's important, for instance, where you see somebody that you might recognise as a gold digger, and that person might even freely admit to saying, oh, I look for men who've got lots of money. But they don't realise that it's their narcissism that's driving that. They just think, well, it's fair enough to get money out of those people to better my own life. They don't realise it's part of the prime aims. It's very important to grasp this concept of awareness, Because the main reasons why lesser and mid-range narcissists are unaware is because they have to act instinctively. And if they didn't, their skill set isn't sufficient, so that with knowledge they would make the right decisions. So they'd hesitate. The narcissism would falter. I often explain the analogy whereby if you hear a loud bang, you would instinctively jump because of your startle reflex, chuck yourself under the desk, hit the deck if you heard what you suspected to be gunfire. You don't go, "Ooh, is that a gun firing? Ooh, I could get hit by some bullets. I better lie on the floor." You just do it. Why? Because it needs to be fast to protect you. Your startle reflex is a self-defense mechanism to cause you to get out of the way of harm. You see a sharp stick coming towards you, you don't go, "Ooh, I'd better move my head back, otherwise that might go in my eye." You instinctively jerk your head away from said sharp stick without thinking about it. When you touch something that's very hot, you don't go, "Ooh, that's hot, I'd better move my hand away from it now, otherwise I'll be burned." You immediately go, "Ooh," and move your hand away. An instinctive recoil from it, the reflexive action. All of those things are self-defense mechanisms, and for the unaware, lesser and mid-range narcissists, they behave the same. They are not imbued with the appropriate skill set to make the right decision, to assert control, etc. The narcissism does it for them, like an automatic pilot. And because it has to be done automatically and fast, they are not allowed to know what they are. They are not allowed to know that they are manipulative. They are not allowed to know that they seek the prime aims, because if they did, they'd hesitate and make a bad decision, a wrong decision, or the right decision too slowly, thus resulting in their self-defense mechanism not being as effective. With a greater Narcissist and Ultra, we have access to the skill set which enables us to make the decisions as to what we're going to do next within the context of our narcissism. We do respond to some extent by instinct, but much of what we do is calculated because our narcissism has evolved in a different way. We are presented with choices. As I've mentioned elsewhere, the lesser narcissist is just given one option. He doesn't make a decision, it's presented to him, and he does it. The mid-range narcissist is given one thing. He does it. He's presented with the appropriate manipulation, and it's implemented immediately. With the greater and ultra, we're given a set of potential responses, and we select one using our calculated mind. Our narcissism makes the initial selection for us, but rather than just being presented with one thing, we have several options, and then we make a decision on which we deem to be the most appropriate. So it's a little bit like if the narcissist is going into a battle, the lesser narcissist is suddenly given a stone club, nothing else. That's what he has to swing. So in he goes like the wrecking ball that he is. The mid-range narcissist is given a stiletto dagger that he can slip between your ribs, secretly and quietly, creeping up from you behind, utilising covert behaviours in a passive-aggressive manner. The greater narcissist, the ultra, is offered a battle axe, a stone hammer, an AK-47, a two-handed sword, a longsword, a bazooka, a nuclear weapon. And then we decide which is the most appropriate one to be utilised in those circumstances. Accordingly, this will shed more light for you on the issue of the narcissist and awareness. And it's very important perhaps to listen to this a few times to allow this to sink in. But as I've stated, if you find yourself struggling, then book a consultation with me. Many people do this to aid their understanding, and once they've grasped it, they realise how much more effective they are with regard to their no-contact regimes, and it allows them to gain such greater understanding. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.